Mike's Daily Podcast.
Well, hello there. Welcome to the Mike's Daily Podcast show. Mike Matthews here. The show is called
Mike's Daily Podcast.
And we've been doing this show for how many episodes? Let's see, 2011. Wasn't that a great year? My name is Kevin. 2011, let's see. That was the year I was in college for a little bit, for one semester. Yes, I was taking a class on computers and business.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
At Chabot College, our local college in the Bay Area, in the East Bay region. It was very good.
Mike's
Tom Hanks went to that college.
Daily
way before he had coronavirus.
Podcast.
And got over coronavirus.
Yeah!
So sad to hear about the deaths that have been caused by the coronavirus. It's so heartbreaking, every single story. And then you hear about the celebrities who have gotten over it, who have gotten through it. Pink apparently got through it, the singer Pink. As well as Sarah Bareilles. Apparently she got through it. And I mention all these stories and others tomorrow on my show on KKDV FM. If you go to kkdv.com, 92.1 FM, and I'll be on the air tomorrow. Actually, let's see, I'll be on practically the whole day. Through the miracle of radio, I'll be on from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. tomorrow. So you can check that out. But yes, I was very amazed to hear Sarah Bareilles and Pink have gotten through it. Now, some musicians who had pre-existing conditions and have caught COVID-19 have died. Joe Diffie, the country singer, he died. The guy from Fountains of Wayne died. It's so heartbreaking. I heard some of his music. I didn't know he's written so many songs for other people. And he wrote the song, That Thing You Do, from was it The Wonders? It was called The Thing You Do. That was a Tom Hanks movie too. So that was very sad. But
and here's today's podcast picture.
Wynton and Branford Marsalis, their father, passed away as well. As he was a musician too, and it's terrible. So that's why we wash our hands, because we gotta remember the older people and the people less. I mean, the guy from Fountains of Wayne was like only in his 50s, and Stacy's mom, the big hit he had, Fountains of Wayne, back in what was that, Basil? What year was that? I think it was 2002. Early 2000s. Yeah. So sad. But Basil, remember about 8 years ago, you and I went to Santa Cruz? Yes, 8 years ago, about this time, we were in Santa Cruz. And you can see that picture at mikesdailypodcast.com. Such a wonderful trip that day. We did so much walking. Basil can't walk anymore. And we walked a lot during the years he could walk. Let's say this dog has had quite an amazing life. We've seen a lot in his life. And then somebody yesterday, after I spoke to you last podcast, showed me the trailer to A Dog's Purpose. You got to be kidding me. You want me to be crying every second of the day? Why are you showing me just the trailer? Put tears in my eyes. Gosh. Basically, the storyline, Dennis Quaid is in this movie. It's that dogs get reincarnated. When dogs have such short lives, but they get reincarnated and put back into our lives, because our lives are longer, generally. And so the different dogs you have throughout your life are basically the same dog. Oh my gosh, why do you do this to me? In other movie news, Contagion. So I've not seen this movie. My lovely lady friend decided to sit down with me and tell me the whole story. Well, I asked her. This is something I do. I don't want to be bothered sitting for 2-3 hours watching a movie, so I'll ask people to just tell me the movie. What was the whole plot line to Endgame, Avengers? I know that movie backwards and forwards. I knew the whole storyline to that last Thor movie, Fraggle Rock one. And then I knew the whole storyline, but then actually watching it, I was, this is entertaining. I like the Jeff Goldblum stuff. That was pretty good. But I'm now occupying my time watching Doc Martin, a show from England that has a very catchy theme song that's like a tango, and it takes place in the small mythical town of Portwen in England, a little coastal town, and all the people have goofy little idiosyncrasies in this town, similar to a Northern Exposure, same storyline, doctor, fish out of water. Although in this storyline, the doctor originated from this town, whereas in Northern Exposure, Joel Fleischman was not from Sicily, Alaska. He was from New York, Flushing, I believe. Hey, all that to say, my lovely lady friend, since the moment I met her, has always forwarded me, texted me stories, fascinating stories, and something that I guess is maybe stuff that could become its own podcast. And she has been on the podcast. She was on this past week a couple times. But it came out this week that Zoom has had some privacy and security problems. And a lot of people have been getting on it because it's just been the brand name. Oh, we'll go on Zoom. But there are now other ones that you should probably check out because maybe the privacy is not as good on Zoom. There are a number of apps that are mentioned in this one article that I got, that she sent to me from The Verge, TheVerge.com. They said, just in passing, there's Facebook, WhatsApp, and FaceTime that allow you to do video chats. They either require, as we go outside a cafe anyway, we're bringing Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley today, the last place on earth. They either require that all participants be members. For example, Facebook, you need to be a member if you want to use their Facebook software or video chat thing. WhatsApp, you have to be a member of that, or that you use a specific type of device. FaceTime, you have to have an Apple. It's Apple only. But here are a list of more generalized applications that allow you to participate without having to actually register for the app, unless you're the host. Skype has one called Skype Meet Now. They've been the go-to platform for one-on-one conversations since the beta was released back in 2003, not that long ago. Yes, it was a long time ago. Its Meet Now feature, which is accessed by choosing the Meet Now button on the left side of the app, allows video conferencing. According to the website, the maximum number of participants can vary, depending on your platform and device. You can record the call for up to 30 days. You can blur the background if you have the app. There's also Cisco WebEx. Oh God, I've known several people who have worked for Cisco WebEx. It's been around since the 90s. It was acquired by Cisco in 2007. It's mainly known as a business application. It focuses on serving companies. It has a fairly generous free version. For the current emergency, it has widened the features of the freemium version from 50 to 100 participants. And it has gotten rid of the 40-minute limit on meetings and has added call-in abilities. Hey, wait a minute. I just suddenly remembered something. So my mom, I talked to her. I've been checking in on her. Florida now has a shelter-in-place policy. That happened this past week. I haven't talked to her since that happened. I talked to her a week ago on Sunday, and she said to me, and she was talking on the speakerphone with my lovely lady friend and I, and she goes, "Hey, Schutz," because that's what she calls me, because she's German, and that's a term of endearment term in Germany. Oh, by the way, also through the magic of Facebook, have been chatting, just commenting back and forth with a cousin of mine that I have not seen in like almost 30 years, over 30 years, I would say. And he and I have been chatting back and forth. He's the son of my mom's sister. But my mom said to me, because now she's sheltered in place, but she asked me, and she has no interest whatsoever in my podcast. I've been podcasting for over 10 years, And she has just nothing, no care at all about it. But she says to me, "Are you still doing your podcast?" And I go, "Yeah." Up to episode 2011. She said, "You need to ask your listeners if they can get any information on why these bad diseases always come out of China, like SARS. And the current one came out of the Wuhan province, Wuhan. What is the deal? Why is China the epicenter of all these things?" She wants to know. And my lovely lady friend and I are going, "Yeah." And then later that week, Ted Cruz was asking the same question. So, I don't know. Do you know? You can call me 336MM Daily. 3 + 3 = 6. MM is a Mike Matthews Daily, as in what this podcast has been for the past couple of days. Okay, back to my other interesting alternatives to Zoom. And I used Zoom with my lovely lady friend a week ago as well, and met most of her cousins and aunts and on Zoom. And let's just say everybody was loud, and Zoom couldn't figure out which camera to pick. It's like a video producer going, "Take camera 3, take camera 1, take camera 3, 4, I don't know, back and forth. And it basically zooms in on whoever, literally, it zooms in on whoever is talking or making the most movement. So I was watching this and participating in this Zoom chat. It was better than any TV show I've ever seen. Better than any sitcom, that's for sure. But there's another one called Starleaf. If you're not a company, you may not have heard Starleaf. It's a platform for large companies, the kind where you don't quote a price on their website. You have to call a salesperson. Ugh. But it's now offering its basic video and messaging product free of charge for those trying to keep in touch during the epidemic. It's up to 20 participants, 46 minutes for each meeting. Then there's another one called Jitsi, Jitsi. Jitsi Meet is an open source platform that lets you easily meet online by simply navigating to the site and clicking on Go. If you're more technically inclined, you can build your own via Jitsi Video Bridge. But most people will be happy with the quick web version, which offers many features found in more well-known apps such as chat, session recording, and the session recording goes right to a Dropbox, if you have Dropbox.com. A lot of the podcasts for the show have been uploaded to Dropbox. It also has the ability to kick out unruly participants. You can have up to 75 participants. You can have a public or private chat. And it integrates with Slack, Google Calendar, and Office 365. And I'm telling you right now, I'm going to probably check that out. There's also Whereby. Yes, Whereby, like the word where. Where is that? And buy. Whereby's free version is rather limited compared to some others mentioned. It gives you the use of a single meeting room with up to 4 participants. And that's not going to really work for a lot of people. With the Zoom things that I've done has been more than 4 people. So maybe not the best, but it does have YouTube integration, screen sharing, the ability to lock out rooms. And then there's Google Hangouts. I was wondering when this was going to pop out. I've been using that with my cousin's daughter in Germany. I've been talking to her through Google Hangouts for years now. The classic version is still available, although it is not being touted by the company, interestingly enough, which is currently pushing Hangouts Meet for G Suite users and corporate customers. It's sort of fun to go to Hangouts and see the 2017 notice saying Chat and Meet will be available for consumer users too. All that being said, if you're feeling old-fashioned, you can use Hangouts to chat with up to 10 people. There aren't a lot of additional features. You can add text messages and share screens, but that's about it. Still, if you want quick and easy, this is worth checking out. There's also Remote HQ, Talkie, High Five, and 8x8. That's the number 8, then the small X, and 8. Some of these don't have free versions. Blue Jeans is another one, but that's like $9.99 a month. House Party a popular consumer app that lets up to 8 people use a virtual room to chat. In fact, anybody can drop into a friend's online session without an invitation. And then there's video meetups with chat apps like Slack, Microsoft Teams. And that's interesting because we actually have that at my work, but nobody uses it. So there you go. That's a pretty good rundown. Thank you, The Verge. By the way, there is a amazing play that I saw, I think 30 years ago, called On the Verge. I think it's a play that, yes, The Geography of Yearning is a play written by Eric Overmyer. It premiered in 1985 at Baltimore Center Stage. Interestingly enough, I saw it like 5 years later. The original cast had James McDonald in it and Libby Boone. I wonder if that still gets produced anywhere. It's a bizarre, interesting play. I enjoyed it. In other news, well, the search has been called off for Robert F. Kennedy's granddaughter and her son, both presumed dead after a canoeing trip at Shady Side near Anne Arundel County, Maryland. Some sad news there. And some good news, the Earth is vibrating less. Yes, it's a quieter Earth with less traffic and other human movements and all the COVID-19 lockdowns. Which, interestingly enough, there are still like 9 states that are having no shelter-in-place policy at all. Wyoming, Iowa, South Carolina, South Dakota, Arkansas. They're all like, I don't know if it's that big of a deal. I mean, come on, we don't want to shut down things. No. Come on. Look, I live in California. We were the first to do a shelter in place. And it is not as bad as other places. Right now, anyway. Like New York or Louisiana. But dang. People, I mean, that's how stubborn these states are. Let's see. I'll tell you more about that in a moment. But first, the other interesting thing that we need to keep in mind is that the U.S. Postal Service possibly may shut down in June without more funding. And so hopefully Congress will do something about that. But the states that are, let's see if I can grab this story, if I zoom to the right place, zoom as it were, the states that still, 9 states, let's see, I mentioned Arkansas, Iowa, Nebraska, Governor Pete Ricketts of Nebraska. We're a different state than states like New York. I don't know, that's not a Nebraska accent, but we're a different state than states like New York that are doing that. We are much earlier in the epidemic curve than New York. He assured the public is taking appropriate steps and suggested that many of the measures taken by the state are stricter than in some cities and states with stay-at-home orders. They've also imposed a ban on gatherings of more than people, and Nebraska schools will be closed until May 31st. North Dakota, Oklahoma, and the others I mentioned, Utah, and the governor there said that he has maintained his reluctance to issue a statewide order, arguing that the state's stay home, stay safe directive is a more positive route, while a stay-at-home order would elicit fear. And that's the whole thing about this. So contagion, I guess there's a lot more fear that got involved. Well, the disease in that is actually worse than coronavirus because people died within a couple days, no matter what. Gwyneth Paltrow, the gal from Titanic, all get wiped out. And somehow Matt Damon and Jude Law survived. But, spoilers. Anywho. All that to say that the skies in LA are clear. The canals in Venice are clean. And as Winston Churchill said, if you're going through hell, keep on going. So just keep going, everybody. Keep going. Don't give up. And remember that Lizzo went to college to learn to play the flute, and she still plays the flute as well as dances. Well, she doesn't do concerts now, but I think she's doing some stuff at home, doing some home videos. As someone I work with named Zach, he made some interesting observations. I had to work with him yesterday. One of the observations is that why are people that work in HR so hard to get along with? I don't know. Maybe it's the type of person. Yes, that's an overgeneralization, but I want you to think back at all the places you've worked and the interesting HR people that you've worked. Human resources. It's a hard department to work for. Anyway. Cafe Anyway. Lizzo apparently is posting interesting videos. Adam Sandler just came up with his quarantine song that I guess is sort of like a Hanukkah song, only now we're in this coronavirus time instead of Christmas time, and he's singing about that and how he wants to hug his mailman again someday, and how he's getting sick of his family. So come on, doctors, nurses, come up with a cure. And then, Lizzo's playing the flute on the social media. Will Ferrell is crying and screaming that he can't go out and be seen by people. Will Smith's got his own family show now on YouTube or somewhere on social media. And I'm doing my podcast from Podcastro Valleyton, as I always do. But that's something that I've learned from Zach. Zach's grandma apparently worked in HR, and she was not that easy to work with either. I'm cleaning up exactly what Zach said a whole bunch. Just want you to know. Hey, look who's here outside a Cafe Anyway, located somewhere in Podcaster Valley 10.
Hello, Mike Matthews. It's Chely Shoehart, gift shop supervisor. Yeah, the gift shop, we're selling a lot of stuff, but nobody can come in because we're not an essential business.
That's right. We're not an essential business. Why are we still in business then? They're going to shut us down. I'm going to shut you down. Look who else is here. Oh, Mike, this is Floyd the Floorman. And this is John Deere, the engineer. The reason why we are still able to exist is that all the people at Cafe Anyway are inside of cones of silence. Mm-hmm. Where'd you get that? We appropriated it from Get Smart. Mm-hmm. I watched a whole documentary on Get Smart the other day as part of my self-quarantine. I'm so much smarter for that. That and Doc Martin. Yes, like the shoe. Yes, like the end of the show. Thank you for listening to the show. The next show will feature Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and the Brewmaster. What do you think about all this? You can call me 336MM daily. 3 + 3 = 6. MM as in Mike Matthews. Daily as in what this podcast will continue to try to be. Yay! Take it away, Eric.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!